We got Pedram on line 4. All right, lots of wild happenings on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at some of the scores of what went down. The Avs had their hands full with the Bruins. Colorado performed brilliantly offensively in the win. Don't even think about touching that dial or touching that button. We've got plenty more on the ice, and that's next. Okay, everybody, let's take a quick look at some of the final scores around the league tonight. The Avalanche paired up with the Wild. Colorado topples their opponents with a strong effort late. The Sharks were on the road up against the Golden Knights. Vegas posts a victory thanks to a strong offensive display. The Bulls were hoping their offense would show up in a big way against the Canadiens. Montreal turns it up when they needed to most, and they get the OT winner. Don't go anywhere. We've got much more here on the show. Those were pretty pointed comments from the coaching staff to say, hey, look, you need to tighten it up on the ice. You are way too undisciplined out there. We've tried to talk to you about this, and you're not getting the message. I don't know what's next, but I would think that maybe some playing time that could be shaved if you're not going to listen to what the coaching staff's telling you. But look, too many reckless penalties. It's hurting the team. But I thought it was pretty public from the coach's sentiment there, from those comments, that he needs to tighten it up. All right, meantime, some other interesting comments around the NHL here. Hey, no shortage of action and drama on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at what happened elsewhere. The Red Wings look to run roughshod over the Penguins. Pittsburgh played a complete game in this one and easily get the regulation win. The Hawks took to the road to match up with the Jets. Chicago topples the opposition with a big offensive effort, as they're known to do. You know, and quite the contrary to what some people are saying, I like the fact that the coaching staff has that sort of trust that they can go to this player and tell him, look, you said you were all in here. You said you wanted to win a Stanley Cup. Well, we need you to kind of seal the deal on a playoff spot for us right now. You need to secure that spot, because if you want to win a championship, you need to be in the playoffs, right? Even this guy, this handsome devil here you're listening to, can figure out the math on that. To win a Stanley Cup, you need to be in the playoffs. So you got to take care of step one, and that's actually get to the dance before you lift the cup. All right, time for a quick break. We got a lot more on this. And I want to bring it back to kind of the rock star here for a second, right? This is a different player we're seeing this year. And I think what we've seen over the last few days has really hit that home. You know, there was all the talk leading up to the season that there was going to be a different approach, a more serious approach, a more dominant approach. And you know what? He's delivered on that. I love it. Wanting to win a championship, we've seen that. Step one complete, right? And the fact that he's got a good enough, strong enough relationship with his coach to be challenged down the stretch to say, hey, you remember when you were talking all that? Remember all that noise? Let's not make it noise. Let's make it reality. And you know what? That first step has been accomplished, and that's getting into the playoffs. Now they got a shot to go and chase the real dream, and that's hoisting Lord Stanley's mug. All right, time for a quick break. We got a lot more on this. In fact, welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm James Cybulski, and, you know, hey, the playoffs are here, the intensity's ramping up, and you can see it in the eyes of the players as they met with the media, and you can also see it in the coaching staff as well. And from what I understand, the coach, and I'll tell you what, I like this. You know, you want your best players to be exactly that if you're hoping to win. And for the coach to kind of challenge, hey, listen, you need to get off to a good start. We need you to be the catalyst here. We need you to lead by example. And quite frankly, he's got to be. You know, set the tone. If you want to win, set the tone. Draw that line in the sand, or at least draw that line on the ice. But get off to a good start. I think it's critical for this team here this spring. All right, back to the phones we go. Let's go to Mike. You know, when you look at the run that he has had over the course of his career, I mean, he's already built a pretty good resume to make a case for the Hall of Fame. Couple of Stanley Cups. Has just been an absolute cornerstone for this franchise. But I also think he's not done yet, right? Like, I'm not ready to retire him just yet. I'm personally speaking, I'm wondering, does he still have enough for a third Stanley Cup? Can he win again? Can he take this team over the top one more time? Personally speaking, I think he has it in him. I think that there's still another run here in him and his ability. But I'm going to turn this over to you. Phone lines are open now. We got a few people already jumping in here. What say you? Can they go the distance with him leading the charge again? Let's go to Danny on line 3. Hey, Danny. You know, and I think it's easy for a lot of people to sit there and post the pictures and the gifs over the fact that you talked about being in it to win it this year and you came up short. But you know what? They looked good all season long. They just ran into a better team here. I'm not going to sit here and bury this team. You look at these two teams, how they matched up, and over the course of the series, the better team won here. This is not about what somebody didn't do or rise to the challenge or rise to the occasion. They simply got beat. And sometimes you just have to tip your hat to a better team. And that's what we saw, case in point, here tonight. Let's get to the phones. We got Joey. I think, hey, look, I get why the fan base is disappointed, right? Hey, look, you play to win, right? You play to win the game. You want to win championships. And I will say this. I loved what the coaching staff had to say about his play because of the fact that, man, he was noticeable every night. He brought it, right? You can't look at him and say, you know what, we didn't get enough out of him. He was great in the postseason. Loved his energy, loved his compete, and I think what you heard from the coaching staff there just moments ago, I think they felt the same way as well. All right, back to line 5 we go. Who is it? It's Navi. No, I want to bring something back to him for a second here because I've seen a lot of people critical about his comments saying, hey, you know what? I'm not content. I want to win more cups. I want more than what I've got. And people say, you're just being greedy. You're being cocky. You know what? That to me is a sign of someone who wants to win. I want athletes like that on my team. I got no problem to say that you're hungry for more. Absolutely. It's okay to be greedy as a winner. You know who likes to win? I want to bring something back to him for a second here because I've seen a lot of people critical about his comments saying, hey, you know what? I'm not content. I want to win more cups. I want more than what I've got. And people say, you're just being greedy. You're being cocky. You know what? That to me is a sign of someone who wants to win. I want athletes like that on my team. I got no problem to say that you're hungry for more. Absolutely. It's okay to be greedy as a winner. You know who likes to win? Everybody. But who's willing to go that distance? Who's willing to go that extra mile? This is not an easy league. It's the best league in the world. It's not a gimme to win every year. So it doesn't mean you have to like it if you don't win. And it's okay to want to win more than just 1 or 2 for that matter. So I had no qualms with his proclamations, even though he came up short. So the haters out there, zip it. Because I'm not betting against him. I think he's going to deliver again sometime down the road. Because I love his compete. Time for a quick break. We got much more on the other side. You know, and I think one of the other storylines to me that I'm intrigued by is, you know, you look at what we've seen from him, and yes, we all know he's a talented player, but can he win? Can he win the Stanley Cup? And I think that question needs to be asked now because, you know, he's been in the league for more than a half a decade. I like what he said this week, that he's all in, that he is ready to be in it to win it. You know, I think he's going to need his teammates to be in that same mindset as well, right? I mean, he can only control what he can control, but we'll see if there's a different player out there on the ice this year because, you know, I think there's a lot of talent there, but I think a lot of people have kind of seen, like, can he break on through to be great, right? There's very good, and then there's great. And I think we're waiting to see if he can make that jump and win the Stanley Cup. All right, to the phones we go. Matthew is on line 4. You know, and the whole narrative and the expression being good in the room, right? You know, chemistry is important with a team. You know, how many times have we seen teams that are absolutely stacked with talent and they fall apart? Why? Because there was just a disconnect within the room. And I know with some reporters and some of the media members asking the kid, saying, hey, you know what, why, how do you endear yourself to teammates more? I don't know if there's ever really an answer. I mean, you can go out and, you know, try to be the best player you can be. That's one way to do it. You know, personally speaking, I think another great way to do it is buying everybody pizza. Because you know who likes pizza? Everybody, right? Everybody loves pizza. Let's go back to the phones here. Let's go to Brent. Brent is on line 3. All right, let's get all you poolies and all you hockey fans caught up on all the action out on the ice tonight. The Maple Leafs were looking to steal 2 points against the Hurricanes. Carolina pounds the opposition into submission with a big goal-scoring night. The Ducks took to the ice to lock up with the Panthers. Anaheim tapped into another gear late, and they pick up the victory. The Sens faced off with the Islanders. The New York Islanders terrorized the opposition with a magical offensive display. We got a jam-packed show. We've got a lot more stuff we got to get to, so don't even think about going anywhere. Stay with us. Well, some fun, some drama, a little bit of everything on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at some of those scores around the league. The Caps were looking to steal 2 against the Red Wings. Washington teed up a victory in a tightly contested affair. The Lightning played on the road against the Flyers. Philadelphia picks up the shootout victory, coming up large in the skills competition. Let's take a look at the rest of the action on the ice tonight in the National Hockey League. The Avalanche paired up with the Predators. Colorado took this one on the heels of a big performance in the shootout. The Wild played a game against the Jets. Minnesota pounds their opposition with a big offensive night. The Oilers were hoping to take a bite out of the Red Wings. Edmonton totally dominant in this one, scoring at will, it seemed, in the win. Lots more puck talk coming your way, and we'll get to it next. Let's take a look around the league and some of the final scores out there tonight. The Devils took to the ice for a collision with the Oilers. New Jersey powers through in a tight one. The Ducks were hoping to come up with 2 points on the road against the Golden Knights. Vegas toasts their opponents thanks to a great defensive effort, not to mention an even better job in goal. The Blues were in tough with the Blue Jackets. St. Louis put
On
in a
this
great
match,
effort
we
and
also
were able
got
to scratch out the
Utah hurt a
victory.
little bit.
Hey, a few more hot button issues we got to get to. It's a jam-packed show tonight.
It's the
Stick around.
20 Expo.
Was there any volatility in the standings across the NHL tonight? Well, let's take a look at some of the final scores to find out. The Pens were in a dogfight on the road against the Avalanche. Colorado torched the opposition in overtime, and they come away with the extra point. The Blues were hoping to quiet the crowd on the road against the Canucks. St. Louis played one of their strongest defensive games of the year, and they get the win. The Sabres had an on-ice collision with the Islanders. Buffalo taps into another gear, and they get the win. We got to take a quick break, but we got a lot more coming your way next. I want to bring it back to him for just a second here. When you look at trying to project who's going to win what awards this season, I'll say this. I think you're looking at the leading candidate for the Lady Byng Award. Most gentlemanly player. And it's not to suggest he's soft. He plays hard. He competes. He's not dirty. Goes out there and delivers. Right? That's a guy you can trust out there. I think that's why he's earned a lot of respect from his teammates as well. But I think if I'm going to pencil in a winner right now, I'm going to lean towards him to claim the Lady Byng Award. All right, we'll take some of your predictions. Phones are wide open right now. All right, let's go around the horn and see what happened elsewhere around the NHL tonight. The Knights were on the road to take on the Predators. Vegas posts the win with a strong defensive front when it mattered most. The Maple Leafs were in a dogfight on the road up against the Flyers. Toronto terrorizes their opponents with the win. The Kraken played on the road against the Sabres. Buffalo posts an impressive win in a tightly contested affair. A very special guest drops by on the show, and we'll do that next. Well, let's take a look at how the standings were impacted with some of the final scores around the league tonight. The Blue Jackets were hoping to grab 2 points up against... Look, I think we can all agree. We like how he plays. We like the skill set. But you have got to play with a little more fire, a little more compete. You gotta turn that care meter up. Like, find that dial that goes to 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. Turn it up, crank that sucker up. And I think that's exactly the message that the coaching staff has been trying to preach. The skill's there, the talent's there. But man, it is frustrating to watch when it doesn't come together on a regular basis. Back to the phones we go. We got Pedram on line 4. Let's take a look at the scoreboard and what went down tonight on the ice. The Avalanche played a game against the Blue Jackets. Colorado powers their way to victory in this one. Let's take a look at the rest of the schedule in the NHL. The Panthers took to the road to match up with the Islanders. The New York Islanders talked a big game going in. They back it up with a clean sheet shutout win. The Canadians faced off against the Ducks.
Well, I'm gonna put
Montreal
Utah,
played a
then
sound defensive
I'll be
game
right
and
back.
pick up the regulation win. Hey, we got to pay a couple of bills here, but we got a lot more action we got to get to. Stay with us.